we have to create the right vibe, the energy, and everybody at the organization has to feel so privileged to be here. It's no other way.
Thanks for listening to the Purely Arsenal podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at PurelyArsenalFP for all the latest Arsenal podcasts.
Welcome to the Sit Down at the Purely Arsenal podcast. James and Neil have been saying all season someone is about to get walloped, and this was the week for it. All we needed was a team to bash Liverpool when we knew it. We're going to wallop them. But it was a tough one in midweek. Obviously, we lost in midweek. I felt that might have been on the cards, but we lost with a slightly stronger team than I'm sure all of us would have liked to see out there. Unless obviously we got the job done, which we didn't manage to do. So we'll briefly run over that one. But we're to review mainly a 5-0 thumping of Nottingham Forest. And with me, I've got two of our elite special guests. Neil Shah, how are you?
I'm alright, thanks. How are you doing, Jack?
Yep, doing very well. Oh, can't be much better after that win. And I've got James
Admiral Nelson.
I've seen a lot of, Admiral Nelson. I think my dad said something like Nelson to victory or something like that. And he was telling me all about the history of Nelson. I was like, okay. Most of our American listeners might not get that, but okay, maybe they will. James Johnston's back. New place, new pad, same hair, looking great. How are you?
Oh, no, it's still the same pad. It's just different setting, but no, I appreciate it. No, and I just want to say happy Halloween, and my goodness, Halloween, what a weird one. I asked the missus for the Dracula costume, and she's come back with a Jamie O'Hara Spurs shirt. And I said to her, no, I want it to look like a count. I'll leave it there. Before we get cancelled. Before we get cancelled, I'll leave it there.
I saw his little clip with Laura Woods. Why does she keep him on? Oh, she's got to have the power now to just remove the bloke. I mean,
she does numbers, doesn't she? But every time she rinses him, she does numbers. So I think she's just like, for me, it's good to have him there.
Yeah. It's always nice to have someone to make look silly on a weekly basis, and she does it. She does a very good job of it, to be fair. So fair play to her. But 5-0 win on the lineup just before we get into the game. I guess the only thing we've talked about for a couple of weeks now is the sticking with tomiyasu over Tierney, and I think we'll talk about that a little bit later in the pod actually, because I want to sort of discuss. I thought tomiyasu had a really good game, so I want to discuss where Tierney sits and things like that. But we did have a poor result in midweek, and last season, James, it was all about us not reacting quickly enough to poor defeats. We lost in clusters, and that cost us in the end, didn't it? Because we lost 2 at the end, and it cost us a top 4 place. And this season, so far, we've only had 2 losses, obviously, so we can't judge it too much. But we've reacted really well to the losses, and we started this game really, really fast on the front foot, and we really never looked back from there. There was a little tentative moment before half time. But were you encouraged, though, James, to see the reaction? Because it was a poor performance in midweek, wasn't
it? Yeah, 100%. And going into the game, if you are looking at the Premier League objectively, like I try and do, I know sometimes your biases creep in, but Dean Henderson, the last 2 weeks with the Brighton game and the Liverpool game, he made 7 saves in both. And I'm not talking about shots that are straight at him. I'm talking about decent saves. He arguably won the Premier League Player of the Week the last 2 weeks going into this game.
Yeah.
And I've looked at what we were doing in terms of our finishing, in terms of our productivity. And do you know what? I wasn't worried because we were still getting in those positions. If we weren't getting in the positions to score, then I'd have panicked. But I just thought, no, this is just literally, it's finishing. That's the only problem is that when we're getting in there, the main man, obviously we'll touch on him a bit later on, isn't tucking his goals away. But the others have stepped up. I mean, if you're looking at our main starting 11, Jack, which obviously is Zinchenko at left back, we've all said that the minute he signed, he's our starting left back. Well, with him removed and now tomiyasu being in that main starting 11, all of them have a goal or an assist contribution apart from Aaron Ramsdale. and we're only 12 games into the season. That shows you the level increase that we've gone up. And like you said, started fast. I think we're doing it, especially at home. Neil, you've said it for years. You've got to make home a fortress, and we're great at home now, especially in the league. We're absolutely sensational.
6 in 6 in the league, I believe, and
That's it. Yeah.
which is, I mean, you can't get better than that, can you? But like you said, you want to make it. I mean, Arteta's talked for a long time about making it a fortress. He's done it with the atmosphere, and now the performances, are right there. And we've had Tottenham and Liverpool at home. It's not like we've had easy games at home, is it? So
no, and that's another thing as well. Nottingham Forest, when they beat Liverpool last week, they're fantastic. They might stay up. What a great, valiant side they are. The minute we beat them 5-0, they're rubbish now. Nottingham Forest. They were always going down.
Yeah.
They've signed 20 players. They've not gelled together. It's a mess. That manager's on borrowed time. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they had a really good result, and it wasn't like they fluked it either against Liverpool. They had some big chances as well. I know Liverpool had chances as well, but if you look at the XG, they had some big chances as well, Nottingham Forest. So, they played a good game. Obviously, it was at home, but you were there, weren't you? In the stand, you were there. We've had a couple of games this season, Neil, where we've been able to just relax. But it must have been really nice for you in the stadium. Just we'll get to the goals and everything. Just to get to that point, maybe around the 65th minute, and really just be able to relax and enjoy football. And you could tell the players were doing that too, couldn't you? You could tell whatever tiredness or fatigue or hesitancy we had because of those sort of one goal up moments we'd had in the last few games where we hadn't necessarily capitalised as good as we should have done, or we've been holding on like we were at Leeds. It's really nice to have those games, and we've had a few of them this season. Brentford away, we haven't had a thumping, but we've had a few of those games where we've just been able to relax and play our football into the latter stages, and that's got to be good for the legs as well, isn't it? We always talk about tiredness, but that's got to be good for the fatigue and things like that, to be able to do that and make those changes when he can.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was a complete and utter performance, wasn't it? From top to toe. Absolute domination. I mean, I think they had a couple of chances, and that was because of errors from our players. That was it. I think one was Xhaka, the other one was Gabriel, which was probably a little bit more serious, or could have been more serious. But other than that, it was a complete performance from our players, and it's so nice to see when people start saying, there's a loss, let's see how they respond, and we keep knocking on the door and answering the questions every single time without fail. We don't seem to be dropping heads at all at the moment, despite a couple of setbacks here and there. I mean, even now, thinking about it, the draw could have been seen as a setback, and we still seem to brush that off and got on with it. And I've not seen, despite our good performances this season, that was a complete performance. I mean, everyone around us in the stadium, you're right, Jack, everyone was just enjoying themselves. The singing and the noise was unreal. It just seems to get louder. The decibels get louder and louder each week, literally. And the Ashburton Army again doing what they were doing throughout the whole game, non-stop. We had some drums this time as well, which was nice to hear, because it felt like the old days of the World Cup, and you put on the World Cup or European games, and you
they allowed those in, did they?
It must have done. Maybe they
don't let your water caps in, but they're letting those in, so that's good.
Yeah. So, it's great atmosphere. It's just unbelievable. I just wish you to, hopefully I'll be trying to get James a ticket maybe early next year, and it's just so nice to be a part of that and just experience it for the fans. But we were so dominant. It was unbelievable. And what I just loved was it's every single player on the pitch. You couldn't really fault any of them. And even when we've had good teams or even great teams, there may have been a weak link here or there, but that was just magnificent all round. Everyone literally just played their part, and that gives you the confidence and the impetus to keep that motivation levels up. And as you said, it's like they're not just playing football anymore; they're actually enjoying it. And if you're enjoying it, wow, that's something else. But Price didn't have any answers, and like you both said, they're not a rubbish team, despite what the media want to say. They're a good unit. They are actually a good unit. They're they're a tough cookie to beat. I mean, we lost to them 2 years running in the FA Cup. They're not, they know muds, but we just brushed them aside. And you know what? The other thing is, I don't even think we were in top gear. As stupid as that sounds, I think we could even raised it another bar, but we didn't need to after going 2-3-0 up. We just didn't need to, but we just flowed and it worked. And I think the big difference is the finishing product. We've been creating a lot, and James was saying he wasn't worried because we were getting in the positions. We were just finishing perfectly. Even Odegaard did. I mean, come on, he's backing it as well.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I want to see Odegaard take those chances on when the goals, when the game's a little closer. I don't know if it's just me, but I know there's a lot of games where we've been a couple of goals up and suddenly he just starts unleashing these absolute pile drivers on his left foot. But before that, sometimes a little bit tentative or a bit too cute, trying to place it. Just unleash it. Do you know what I mean? He's got such a shot on him. Always had such a shot on him. But obviously it was a beautiful goal. But getting back to the start of the game a little bit, James, we started really, really well. Saka, I thought, was, until the injury, which we'll get to, the two probably negatives of the game was obviously Saka's injury and probably Jesus not scoring, unfortunately. But everyone wanted him to get a goal. I think he had 7 shots in this game. But, I'm not majorly concerned about that, but we'll get to that. But the first goal was a brilliant, and we're forgetting, maybe we don't forget, we talk about it, but how good Martinelli is in the air. But it was a wonderful sort of connection between from left to right, from Martinelli to Saka and back to him. I don't think there's a lot they could have done about that. I saw a little bit on Match of the Day, James. Guinness was laying into Nottingham Forest for their defence on that, and I was like, I think it was Antonio from West Ham that really chucked it back at him and said, I think you've got to give credit. And I agree. I was like, I don't know what they can do about that. What could they do about that, James?
Oh, no, nothing. And, you're going to touch on the Tierney stuff later on, so I won't go too far into it. But tomiyasu starts to move off. He's the one who makes the block, gives it to Martinelli. Martinelli has the give and go. And, he's fantastic in the air. I mean, we've said this since he first come in. I can't remember who it was in the Europa League where he did that sort of Ronaldo-esque big jump, and you're like, bloody hell, this guy's leap's insane. It was a really, really nice goal. And you know what? He was fantastic for the rest of the game. I mean, you can gas up the players, as the kids say, but at the moment, I'm sorry, you've got to say what you see. Some of them are just, they're so good. As a unit, they're so good. I mean, we'll touch on it later on, but that Saliba, Gabriel, Xhaka party, that square, that rectangle, whatever you want to call it, when it's in full flow, I defy any team in the league to beat that. When they're all singing and dancing like they were, oh my God, just wow. And Saka again, gets injured, but he still provides before he gets injured. That's the guy. And I was looking at it, and that was his 50th consecutive game in the Prem, because he come on as a sub, didn't he? In that Brentford one, that was the one time we rested him, and then he had to come on because we were in such dire straits. He had to come on and play, and that to myself, when you say that, out loud to me, 50 games in a row, especially for him at his age, it is concerning to me. But that's he's so he's relied upon so much that sadly we can't take him out. And I think he wants to play him anyway. And I think a lot of it, if you look after what happened, he was digging, weren't he? He was digging that leg into the ground as if to be like, it's like when you do with a moped, he's trying to kick it to rev back up again. And we could all see it was just, you said it right away, Michael said it right away. You've got to get him off here. It's not good. It's not good.
I'm off mute, and the thing is, and I've listened to a few people on it, I don't think anyone actually realises when it happened, which is really weird. It's like the bigger talking point with Saka now is the rotational fouling that people keep doing on him, and the frustration that he doesn't seem to get called very much. I think that's. I mean, even I want to say the first ball that he got in this game, their left back, the Brazilian lad, I forget his name, but went straight through Saka.
Lodi,
that's it. And he's not been playing much. They've been playing Nico Williams, haven't they? But he played, and he was ruining Lodi all over the place. Went straight through him, trying to let him know he was there. But the problem with that is, it's basically a booking at that point, and they don't do it. So then it allows it. Like we saw against Southampton, just allowing that stuff against Jesus, right? But But I think Saka, specifically in recent weeks, I just feel like he doesn't get the protection that his football deserves, really. And for some reason, a lot of fouls don't even get called upon him. This one, oddly enough, happened. I've watched it again and again. I've watched him for like the 10 minutes that he kept playing on. It was actually in the 8th minute, and oddly enough, it actually wasn't really. It was just a coming together of bodies, which was a bit weird. It wasn't actually a foul. There was a worse foul after it, and everyone thought it was that. And the commentary and even podcasts I've listened to since still think it was that. And it wasn't. He was limping way before that from the 8th minute. Yeah, and if you remember in like the 18th, 19th minute, he had a shot volley and it went way over the bar. He was limping and hobbling. That was the point when he went down again. I think that we had to take him off at that point. Now the thing with it is the signs since have been pretty encouraging, according to Arsenal releasing stuff yesterday. Right, they said it was pretty encouraging. He's not out of the woods yet, basically, but he's pretty encouraging. My feeling on it is that if it was an ankle injury, they probably would have done two things. They either would have taken him off sooner, because they're like, oh, he's rolled it or landed awkwardly on it, and it's ankle, he's not going to be able to go on it. Or you would have seen him do something to it, like strap him. They would have like taped him up. But they didn't attempt to do any of that, which makes me think that it's just an impact injury. And if it is just an impact injury, he may have a chance for Sunday. You know, like if it is just impact, it's like bomb coming together, and it's like a whack on his shin. He may have a chance for Sunday. And he does do this a little bit, doesn't he, Saka? When he feels something, he is quite sensible about it. I've noticed, like when he feels something. Maybe he wasn't sensible in those 10 minutes, but do you know what I mean? He takes it off, he brings it off, and then he's done this a few times in the part, and he's just back the next game. So I'm hoping, touch wood, he's back the next game. But I guess, Neil, I mean, none of us thought Reece Nelson was coming on. I don't think, did we? I mean, I know I didn't. I was like, I basically said, don't do Eddie, do Vieira, because it's right side, and I'm thinking that. I didn't even think about Reece. I definitely didn't think about Marquinhos, because since the Europa League couple of starts he's had, he's really not really featured much, has he? Which is maybe something that Arteta's seen in training. What were your thoughts, though, Neil, when he came on? He's kind of a forgotten man, Reece Nelson, in a way. They could have easily sold him, loaned him out a lot. Had a really interesting career as well, I think, Reece Nelson, and a really interesting sort of sequence with Arteta. But what were your thoughts when he came on?
Shocked. But just touching on Saka very quickly, I mean, like, before he went off, he was arguably man of the match. He really was. I mean, there was that through ball that he made for Jesus, which he just curled wide. He just didn't get enough curl on it. I mean, that was a magnificent ball. His awareness for that.
Yeah.
And you know what I saw? Just because I was on that side where we were. So I was on the side where we were attacking in the first half. And he was limping very early on. All of us around thinking, he's got to come off because he's as James put the stats in, 50 games on the trot. And we've all been saying that the guy needs a rest. Please give him a rest, please. But what I saw from Saka was he wanted to carry on. And that's what I love about the guy. One part of me loves that about him. We're all saying, that's really good. That's what we want to see in our players. I always go to the good old days when, you needed to get like, 2 broken legs before the players came off, and even a yellow card might have been thought about. It seemed like a little bit of a throwback that this guy's getting battered. But he's just like a machine. And that's because he wants to play. He wants to be part of it. And I just thought, no, be sensible today. But he wasn't looking back at the bench. He wasn't saying, I need treatment, nothing. And so 3 or 4 times I saw him go down, start limping, and then he kind of tried to run it off. He's just incredible. But I'm glad. All I'm going to say is I hope he doesn't play Thursday.
Oh, he can't be in the squad Thursday.
No, even if he's ready, please,
no.
Don't. Right, Nelson. Oh my God, what can you say? Christ.
Can I just give you a quick quote on him, Neil?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Arteta first came in? He started him in his first game. Instead of Pepe. Yeah, and he said something. He said, I coached him when he was 16, and straight away he caught my eye. He said, I think he's ready to really fulfill his potential. He's willing to learn, loves the game. This was way back in 2019. Or 2020. I think he has been a little bit confused in the last few years about what direction he had to take and with some of the decisions. We forget that amongst that group, I know he's about 18 months older than Saka and Smith Rowe, or 12 months, but he was like the Nicky Butt. he was considered the best player amongst that young group, and he was literally tearing it up with him. I mean, you saw Cooper hug him off because he was England under-17s coach, and he was the best player I had, and almost maybe he was alongside Jadon Sancho, almost hasn't fulfilled that potential. Reasons hard to say really, but he's always believed in him. Sorry, carry on.
So he must be seeing something in him. He must be aware. I think he would have got rid of him or put him alone ages ago. Because Arteta's been around for a while now. He's stuck by him. When I say put him alone, just keep it, because obviously he was on loan, but we would have got rid of him by now, I'm sure. But he hasn't. So he must have a future plan for him. And maybe he hasn't really had enough opportunities because of the people in front of him. Or Saka's you can't get rid of Saka, can you? You just can't, no matter what. But he's finally got an opportunity, and I know he's had opportunities in the past. I mean, he played in the Europa League last game, didn't he? And
I don't think he started against PSV, did he? No.
But he came on, did he not? Or am I wrong about that?
I'm not sure if I don't know, but I don't think he started in that one, James. I don't think he started in the PSV one away, I want to say. And I don't think he's played many games on the right wing, in fairness. A lot of his games, I want to say, in pre-season, it has been from the left. So that was quite interesting. Do you think this might have had something to do with him in the last game? He mentioned, I don't want to change more than one piece.
He didn't play at all versus PSV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we lost. That's what.
There you go. So that's interesting. So I think he's been given an opportunity, and boy, has he taken it. Because he has had chances before, but as you said, not they're fleeting, and you can't expect a player just to come in and tear the place apart straight away. I remember seeing and hearing about him as a youngster, and you're right, Jack. He was touted as probably one of the best of the bunch, because there was a few. Do you remember there was that Zemalem? I can't pronounce his name. There was a few around his time, and they were all supposed to be amazing. But he was the one that everyone was talking about. That he was the big the big one, ahead of everyone else. And it is a wonder what's happened. Why is it taking so long? But do you know what? Better late than never. And he's still only 22 anyway. He's not that old. No. It just feels like it's been around for years. He's not that old. And oh my God, what a performance! I mean, I remember seeing him get back to defend at one point as well. And I know I'm jumping ahead, but both his goals were great. But the second one and our third, I loved that because he was on the floor at the back. He won the ball with a great touch. He was on the floor, and he still got up, and he ran the length of the pitch, and then he did what he did after some wizardry by Odegaard with the ball. But and he set up the party worldie as well. I mean, he was involved in everything, even near to the end. He was doing stuff. And I've not seen Reece Nelson do that before. He was, and I think Martinelli, James, again, you might correct me, or Jack, Martinelli, I think, got the official man of the match, but I would put him right up there. But when he came on, he didn't really put a foot wrong.
Can't do much more, can he? No.
Well,
he was fantastic.
The thing about this, Neil, and again, you make a great point there. First of all, the Partey one, he could have easily have chopped in himself, gone, I'm on a hat trick, and shot himself for that. But he's gone, no, saw a player in a better position, laid the ball on. And secondly, you talk about Martinelli won the official man of the match. The broadcast that I watched gave it to Partey.
I thought Partey was very good.
I know another broadcaster abroad gave it to Ben White. I myself, I thought Nelson was as well. SofaScore, that's one of the best ones for all the stats and everything, gave Reece Nelson man of the match and gave him Premier League Player of the Week, which he deserves. Who Scored gave Thomas Partey Premier League Player of the Week. Shearer, when Newcastle win 4-0, absolutely, Wilson gets 2 goals and 2 assists. He gives it to Nelson as well. So
there you go.
That's what we've mentioned it so many times. When you can pick 4 or 5 different Arsenal players as your man of the match, like I said earlier,
that's the market
level.
Champions, James.
It is, yeah, it really is. The level so good.
what comforts me, Jack. Sorry, before you're going to say, we are worried. We were all the concerns about that position. What if something happens to Saka? What do we need to reinforce in January? Well, we probably still do. We don't know. But I think now, if Reece Nelson continues like this, I'm hoping he will, because that would have spurred him on. That would have given him confidence. The only concern is, again, it's not a negative concern. But if Saka, as we want him to, comes back straight away against Chelsea, then when's Reece going to get his chance again? That's the only worry.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
I know what you mean.
But he played magnificently. It was almost as if we hadn't replaced Saka. Because we were all thinking, oh no, Saka's off, and now what? But it's almost like it cloned him.
Yeah.
And he was just as good, if not better, to be fair, in some ways.
Yeah. In the first half, he started very not cautious, but safe with the ball. He didn't want to lose the ball. But then, the goal changed everything, really. I mean, it was such a confident. I mean, obviously, he missed the first chance, but the way he cut inside, and he's actually very good in front of goal. You remember Liverpool during the pandemic? It was a lovely finish when he got the ball off Van Dijk, and it was a lovely finish. We hardly had a chance in that game, but he's very, very good if you get him in the final third and in the right space. In front of goal, he's actually always been quite clinical. We just haven't played him enough to kind of see it. And he had a pretty successful loan spell at Feyenoord. Obviously, before that, at Hoffenheim, not so one. He played under Nagelsmann at Hoffenheim, and Nagelsmann complained about his attitude and not applying himself. It was I was following him really closely, because that was a time when I was really into Reece Nelson. I was like, he's going to be big. I was kind of along the Smith Rowe lines with Reece Nelson when he was at Hoffenheim. And I was like, this isn't good. I don't like this, because Nagelsmann was already known at that point as being a pretty elite manager. And if you remember, at Hoffenheim, he just kept coming off the bench and scoring absolute worldies, but he would never start. It was like, I don't understand. He keeps scoring for 30 yards. He got like 6 in 10. It was something ridiculous. But they wouldn't start him. And Nagelsmann actually came out and spoke about him and said, he turned up late for training a couple of times. There were some issues, And I wonder, I've always thought about Reece Nelson, and England just produces so many whippy, technical, fast wingers. And I was like, are you going to be a Lennon or a Wright Phillips, or are you going to be a Saka and actually be able to maintain some consistency and play both ways and be relied upon? And this is kind of now or never for him in terms of his Arsenal career. But for us personally, if he can, I don't think necessarily he would have started against Zurich in midweek. I think he definitely starts against Zurich in midweek now. And that's huge for him, right? He's confident. He's probably going, I just want to play again, And he started in midweek. And if he can be the first guy if we need to rotate Saka out, well, all this season we've probably been going, well, who do we do it for in this game? Is it Marquinhos? Do we put Fabio Vieira on? Do we put Eddie on and shuffle everything along? If he can be the person that we go, okay, Saka needs a break here. Let's get 20 minutes. If he can be that guy, that is a huge step for him, because that's a massive step for us. Because, like you said, Neil, we've already known we're light there, like we do a little bit in central midfield, and top seasons at clubs. Sometimes you find players that give you something you never considered they could. You remember, like Christopher Ray back in '98. We didn't talk about Christopher Ray at the start of that season, and suddenly you go, oh God, we're winning 1-0 and Christopher Ray's scoring. It was like, do you remember?
Even Boa Morte scored a couple of crucial goals.
Boa Morte, yeah.
Do you remember?
Just players that come out of the blue.
Most recent one I can think like that is he's getting Coquelin back from Charlton.
Of course, yeah, came on against Liverpool away.
He saved us. He saved us when at the time I thought he was the best thing since sliced bread when he came back.
He was the pinnacle with Santi when we beat Man City away. Do you remember? That was my first podcast with you, Jack.
Was it? God, what way to start?
You had about 7 people on, but yeah, that was the one.
Didn't know what I was doing then. I still don't. But that sounds about right. Yeah. Well, we'll get reminiscing about winning at Man City away. It's all coming full circle. But it was. I mostly you get a takeaway feeling on a game, and I start thinking about, well, what does this mean? Obviously, it's early days. He's just come on. He's had a good game. I do wonder if the choice of picking him, James, was more like, well, I looked at you midweek, Eddie. I looked at you midweek, Fabio. You didn't really do it for me. Reece didn't have a chance midweek. Let's give him a chance. Do you know what I wonder? I also think the secondary part was, I just want to play someone that's comfortable on the right. That's probably a part of it as well. Whatever it was, he had to be ready. I loved his interview after the game, saying, I didn't really expect to even come on. It was nice to see. When it's just nice when you see those moments, and there's nothing better than knowing that the players come up through Arsenal and he's got his moment, and he kind of grabbed it with both hands. So it was really, and like Neil said, both the goals, James. Feel free to touch on them, but I thought they were really well taken. Second one, real sort of poacher's goal, really.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It's just a consistency now. Because, like you've said, we've all seen Reece Nelson score goals for Arsenal, but then it just wanes, it just completely fades away. And this is it now. I'm like, no, push on, I know he's not been the man as such for the last couple of games, but when Eddie come in last year for us, when obviously Lacazette, he nearly pushed us through, nearly. And we need a run like that from Nelson now. If Saka's going to miss, this game and potentially might not start against Chelsea, but could potentially come off the bench against Chelsea. However, I'm one of them. If he's fit enough for the bench, I think he's starting. So, but long may it continue. I would 100% rather see someone from Hale End that we've developed and grown than us going out there and spending money on somebody. And like you said, he's been unfortunate, with the rise of Saka, but also with the fact that Pepe has been there. And sadly, you have to justify a £75 million signing. You can't, okay, it got to a stage where it was pretty much like, no, come on now. Look what he does when I do play him. And I love Pepe. But it did get to a stage where it was just like, no, this is beyond repair now. Come on. Trying to get blood out of a stone type thing. And no, it's really good, and I hope he continues. And he 100% has to start on Thursday. And hopefully against Zurich, if he can bang in another goal or get another assist or two, then happy days. It's good as well because, when you've got players coming back after the World Cup, if you know that he can slot in there potentially on a Boxing Day against West Ham when everyone's knackered and everything, that's always good as well. I know we got a lot of them that aren't going to go, so that's great, especially some of the big hitters as well that potentially might not be going. But if he can slot in there after the World Cup as well, that'd be amazing. Yeah, we got those 2 games, mate. If we're top going into that World Cup break.
Well, I've looked at the fixtures a little bit, and to be top, we're going to have to go to Stamford Bridge and win because City have got Fulham and Brentford at home somehow in the last 2.
That's the next test, though, Jack. We've done everything this season. The only thing that we're getting battered with by these, wanky press is literally they don't go to the big sides away and win. That's the only one that we've got left.
Yeah, I'm amazed that Man City have managed to somehow avoid playing us, Chelsea, Tottenham. Before the break, I don't know how they managed to avoid it.
Well, it's sort of our fault. We had to. Well, we can't necessarily. Yeah, well, the Queen died, so it's not necessarily our fault, but yeah.
Selfish.
Could have waited a few days,
Unbelievable. But
she's an Arsenal fan. She's ruined all the fiction.
She is. She knows. She's timing it. It's just. Yeah, very, very interesting. Great. He took the 2 goals. Fantastic. Let's just talk just before we go to probably the 2 best goals of the game. Definitely. I mean, you can take pick really, but we had a little, not wobble, but a little moment. Maybe we took a little second to adjust to Saka going off. And they had a couple of sort of openings. The worst one was the Gabriel shocking ball across the face of goal. And Ben White did brilliantly to block it. I think Saliba did brilliantly before that to then give the ball to Gabriel, who should have just pumped it long or gone out wide, but he decided he never played. He played the ball across his own 6-yard box.
Jack, I honestly, I've watched it back because I had someone say to me, I saw you put on Twitter that we stood off, and he's like, I think that's unfair. I think you should watch it back. So I actually have, and he went, and I totally forgot. Martinelli had one cleared off the line, and Jesus had one that he should have scored as well. So we should have been 3-0 up at half time, actually. Yeah. I'm like, no, to be fair, you are right there. But watching this with Gabriel back, like you said, he can go that way long, or he's literally got Granit Xhaka there, which is it's the safest 6-yard pass he can make to give it to Granit Xhaka. I don't know what goes through his head to think I'm going to go there. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not a footballer with the football brain that Gabriel has. But even I'm like, I'm not going there. I don't know what possessed him to think. Maybe he just got bored and thought, "Oh, I'll make this interesting. Let's see, let's have a laugh. Like, let's see how it goes."
Yeah, it was almost like that, wasn't it? Because Lingard weren't having a kick, and it was amazing to see.
Well, I'm glad. Strictly come Lingard can jog on.
He was
I've had
really
enough of
annoyed when he trashing all of his little finger tape. Right, he had his Michael Jackson tape that he was taking off as he came off a pitch, right, and all that sort of stuff. I was like, God, barely. It was hilarious if the ball ever went beyond Saliba. I forget their striker's name, or it was Lingard, but there was absolutely no point in them running after it because Saliba's just like this flipping, galloping human being that just like, yeah, see you later, mate. And he gets the ball so early, even if they're in level with him, that he's got time to decide where he's going to go with it. He's just, when we play that high line, I don't think there's anyone better in the league at this point in time.
And do you know what? The clean sheet was massive as well. First one since March, like I said in our group beforehand. So massively happy with that.
Yeah, I think us and Mike on his podcast had spoken a little bit about not keeping clean sheets at home. Obviously, we've had amazing records since then at home, so we're not complaining. But a lot of games you just watch it, games like this where you're like, wow, you should be keeping a clean sheet in it. The other thing was obviously the Gibbs White tackle and Jack are very lucky. Barely got the ball. Took a lot of the player, lunged in. I think my biggest issue with this is I'm noticing. Obviously, we're not getting the protection that top teams in the league have got, right? When I watch Saka, I think, is he getting the protection that a Sadio Mane got? He's not. He's just not getting that protection. Do you know what I mean? And I want all the Harry Kane gets because of where he's from. And Saka should be getting that protection. From my eyes, people might say, well, why should you protect any player? But it's, the point is we've seen it too many times. We've been burnt too many times with players like this. The Wilshires, the Ramseys, the Diabys, getting ruined from just challenges that aren't taken. But I think we need to be a bit better at surrounding the referee at moments like this. I think we do. I don't think we did it enough against Southampton when there was shocking challenges from their centre back and their right back. And I think in this one, I can't really remember. I know Xhaka went there, but I think we need to be surrounding the referee. I think Odegaard needs to be better at just collectively grouping, not lunging at them to get fines or anything, but just going up to the referee and going, hey, watch this, all right, in groups of 2s and 3s. We used to be very good at that when we were at our best. At doing it. Sometimes we did it a bit overkill, right, in Battle or Old Trafford and stuff like that. But the best sides all do that. They stick up for their team, and I think we need to be a little bit better at that because they're not doing it otherwise. The refs aren't doing it. That's a little bit frustrating.
Sadly, Jack, I think if our players actually did that, we'd probably get more sending off because they'd book so many of our players for they normally I remember years ago they said that any form of dissent now is an automatic booking because they're like, oh, it's not, when the kids are watching and they see that they can, they'll from their youth groups they'll think that they can speak to refs like that, and you need to set a precedent that you're not allowed to speak to officials that way. A bit like I can't stand rugby, but in rugby it's like if you do anything nasty to the ref, you're done. You're finito, like sin binned or whatever it is as well. And sadly, and I'm not trying to, I'm not using it as a criticism of the guy, but when Arsene Wenger departed from the Invincibles and having those teams that were physically imposing as well as great footballers, and he got obsessed with the Barcelona small intricate players, we've been seen since around 2006 2007 time as a soft touch, and sadly that's not going to evaporate, I don't think, until we actually, like you said, really do push on and show that we're not that, and then win trophies, and I'm talking about the big trophies, and even still stay consistently as a top side. Sadly, them lot down the road have been getting the top 4, and they're consistently in there, and they are protected. Especially the Golden Boy, and it's a bit like you've mentioned it before, Rooney, Shearer, they all used to get away with it.
Yeah, you've got a top English striker that go into... They'll protect him, entirely. But
give Saka the England armband, Gareth, and we might get some rubber to green.
Where he's going, he might be next in line, to be honest. But not under Southgate. He'll give it to Aaron Maguire, but say no more. But second half, obviously, there was a moment where I was like, we just need a second goal. I think we all were saying that after the last couple of weeks. Get a second goal, please. I really relaxed after that. Neil, just before we do, let's touch on the tomiyasu thing. I thought he was really good as an inverted fullback. What do you think this says about Tierney, though, that our top left back is out? We don't know why or how long. He's in contention for the last month, but he's out and not seen in the training ground. He is still alive because they did the lovely thing with Pablo Mari, thoughts with Pablo Mari before the game, and he was there with that. And Martinelli, of course, when he scored, held up his shirt. So that was really nice to see, and glad he's doing okay. But that was an awful incident. I don't, someone passed away from it. It was shocking. Tommy, I think he has the ability to be a bit more inverted than Kieran T. He does it a bit more naturally. I think his two-footedness can't be underplayed here as well. When I watch it, I don't know if you watched. There was a point where a Forest player just showed him down the line. They were like, "I'll show him down the line because he's right-footed," and he whipped in an unbelievable ball with his left foot, Tomiyasu, and that's what he's got. He can go wide, he can come in. He obviously doesn't do it quite as naturally as Zinchenko because he's not as good a footballer, but he is the closest thing we've got to mimicking that. And clearly Arteta doesn't want to move away from adding that third midfielder in. I think Tierney's got a little bit of a problem here, Bill.
Shame if he has, because I think I'm not going to say that I dislike Tierney because I think he's a good player. But if you've got players that are even better at doing it than you are, well, you've got to think about the club first, right? Yeah, it is a shame. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this carries on and Arteta picks it like this. And maybe he wasn't expecting it. Maybe he never thought Ben White would settle in the right back position as well as he's done. At the end of the day, Ben White initially was playing in the centre, wasn't he? And it was almost because Saliba and Saliba again yesterday on Sunday. Oh God, he's velvet. He's a Rolls Royce with velvet. I can't say anything more. He was back to his best. I know we had a little bit of concern where there was a game where you'd say that even Gabriel was probably the better man than Saliba, but that's good because if one has a bit of a dip, then the other one brings himself up and vice versa. But yeah, that day he was brilliant. But so you've got now really our first choice, Gabriel Saliba there. Ben White's been forced to play right, which maybe Arteta never saw because obviously Tomiyasu was there on the right, and now he's seen what he can do on the left. But of course, you've even got to think about him when Zinchenko does come back, because you're saying concerns about Tierney, but then what happens to Tomiyasu when Zinchenko comes back? It's a great headache to have.
Yeah.
But now, effectively, we've got three players in that left back position.
I don't think Tomiyasu's going to have any trouble because he's so versatile. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he can play anywhere along that back line. So even though he might not be number one in the first 11, he'll play so many games because Tierney can only do one role or like one position. Do you know what I mean? He's not playing centre back anymore. We're not doing back three, so he can only do one role. Yeah, and I think he's actually made a really good effort at it, but it's not natural, is it?
No, he's not natural. I think he's been a bit better this season. The other time when we were talking about him, he started off brilliantly. I'll keep saying it, and I've said it before on this time. It feels like I'm repeating myself. But when he linked up with Martinelli, when Martinelli first came on, they looked fantastic down the left, the two of them. They just had
I remember that.
They just had a natural relationship between the two, and they were great. It was only for a few games, and that was under Emery, I think, if I remember correctly. Was that under Emery? Was it under early on?
They were both sides.
It was. Yeah. And I think they were great together. And then he went a bit bland. It just became very two-dimensional for me, and he wasn't. And then obviously history. Zinchenko comes along, and you think, oh my God, that's what we've been missing. And we knew from there that Zinchenko's fit, Tierney ain't going to get a shout or look in. And then all of a sudden, then with the Liverpool game, Tomiyasu comes along. It's like now you've been almost delegated to third place. I don't think Tierney's going to be happy with cup games. No. And I wouldn't be surprised if this carries on in the same vein for the rest of the season. He might be looking to exit in the summer.
I thought that might happen this summer, to be honest. I mean, I mentioned it. I mean, I posted something about possible big sales.
Which, in a way, Jack, I feel a bit sad because I didn't like him.
I like him.
I think I can offer. I mean, I was touting him for captaincy. Do you remember in the early days?
We all were, weren't we? Really? So, I mean, at that point.
But then there is that other thing. his injury worries.
Well, do you think that, Jane, just do you think any of this could have anything to do with just managing his load, because he's not really proven himself to be someone that can maintain his fitness throughout the season?
Yeah. You can't play him Thursday, Sunday, and
No.
I believe he started on Thursday, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So I think there's that, because again, like I said, a lot of them are going to the World Cup. He's not. He's one of them that's staying at home. So in that second block of the season, he could be completely massive. He could be really, really important. So I think there's some of it is the managing the minutes and managing the fitness. Like I said earlier, I wish he did it with other players as well. But the other point is what you've all said about the way that we're structured now and the way that we're playing now. That whole inversion and adding that extra midfielder in has won us and got us these 12, victories that we're talking about. He's been so good, Zinchenko, and then tomiyasu, when he's been asked, okay, if you look at it, Southampton game was probably the one where you were like, no, you don't need to do that. You actually need the extra attacker. And there's been times, I remember when Tierney come on against Tottenham and he fizzed that shot at Lloris. He looked absolutely brilliant. And then Brentford, he was superb. Absolutely superb. So there is games where he's going to be the guy. And Zinchenko or Tomiyasu are probably going to look like they're not. But for me, I believe he is one of our players that will command a big fee if we do wish to sell him. And I do not begrudge Kieran Tierney wanting to play first team football every week. Sadly, like Neil said, I will be gutted when he leaves, or if he does leave, I will be gutted because I love the player, but I also love the man.
Yeah,
I can't, even though all this is happening, he's not one that's, you see Lakonga running his mouth, mainly at his national manager, but he has said some things as well about Arsenal. And Kieran Tierney, if anyone wants to feel aggrieved, he could easily be running his mouth about how things are going. But he hasn't said a word because he's a model pro.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a model pro.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to have three fantastic options out there. But Tavares potentially could be coming back. Then you got four. That's too many, isn't it? It's too many.
And then we might start to look at, right back might be the option that we're really looking at, which would be interesting in terms of backing up Ben White and maybe having a more natural free-flowing guy that is more of a natural right back to back him up, because we don't play inverted as much. But
I think he's already in there. I know
Norton
Cedric.
Cuffy.
Norton. I was just about to say, I know Cedric's not got long left, but once he's no longer that sub, I think the Norton Cuffy show's coming, mate.
Yeah. I don't know how he's doing this season. Have you looked?
I don't even know where he's gone on. Has he gone on loan again?
He has gone on loan.
I don't even know what.
Followed.
That's me. I don't even know what club
I don't know if
he's gone on loan
injured.
to.
He might have been injured, but
That's bad, isn't it? I should know. But yeah.
Which of the two goals will you pick? Obviously, you've all seen the side-by-side Tottenham Forest. It's becoming a party trait. Hopefully it does, because he's shot enough over the bar over the last couple of years. But I think this one was even better, actually, because he hit it. The Tottenham one was more of a placement. This one was more of a whip.
Can I chime in very quickly? Yeah. James, I'll let you go, but just very quickly. Tottenham game, for me, that goal was more satisfying because it's Tottenham. And because I think it was what goal was that?
It was 0-0.
Yeah, so that was quite important. Whereas this one was the fourth goal, so in terms of importance, probably not so much. But actually, this goal was better.
Yeah,
if you look at
I think it was too.
Oh my God, it was so far off the post, and the way it curled in. Oh,
whippy delish, wasn't it?
For me, this one was a better goal, but for me, the satisfaction was the Tottenham one.
Yeah, I agree with that. James, Odegaard's as well, James, was right up there.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
No, the party one, I think the ball's still spinning now, isn't it? It's, like you said, the way it just... Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, Neil. Last season, when he's hitting them, he could fall into a barrel of porn stars' tits and come out sucking his thumb. He was dreadful, but now they're all going in. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. So,
oh dear.
Long may it continue. But Odegaard's one, Jack, I'm sorry. in terms of playing in the tight spaces, is there a better player in the league? I know Kevin De Bruyne is that guy, but in terms of being in a tight space, is there anyone better than Odegaard in this league at it? And I'm not. If there is, then someone put it in the comments. DM me, carry a pigeon, whatever you want to do, because I need to know. Because I need to
calling him Santi Cazorla if he can.
I need to watch who this player is that's better than him in a tight space, because I love watching Odegaard. I'm sorry, I do.
Lovely. Well, even for Nelson's second, again, it was him, close control, getting it out to Jesus, wasn't it?
We talked about it. Obviously, Neil was there. And like I said, when they're in full flow, you're so glad you've paid your ticket. But I know how hard it is to get tickets. All of a sudden we're good. It's impossible to get tickets again, which is great. But sadly, it is the way. And do you know what I mean? If I come out of that on Sunday, I'd have been, like I said, there's so many different. You could have picked so many different random matches. Lovely stuff. Really, really good stuff.
Not too concerned because JG's, I think he had 7 shots, 2 assists. So involved. He's got 5 goals, 6 assists this season. I'm not. I mean, I know you're not, but we're not concerned. You'd be more concerned if he wasn't getting those chances, like Aubameyang wasn't last season or season before, or Lacazette wasn't. But then he's so important to the way we're playing, isn't he? Yeah. Just needs a goal. Just needs a goal at some point, and then it will come flowing again, won't it?
Yeah. If we're scoring it from everywhere else, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter unless he's the kind of player that needs to score to improve his game. But he's showing it doesn't need it. He wants to score right until the end. He had that chance where he just didn't quite get connect right at the very death of the game. So he was still trying.
From Ben White's flick on.
We were 5-0 up. He didn't need to put himself at risk, almost clattering into the post.
Yeah, but that's probably what held him off a little bit. Yeah,
he wants to score and he will score. But the point is, he's doing everything else anyway. I mean, even the dink for Nelson's second, that was beautiful. Did you see it went right through 2 players?
Yeah.
After Odegaard did his bit with his wizardry, with his spins. I mean, so what he does just doesn't matter that he's not manufacturing goals. He's manufacturing everything else around the penalty box. And he's giving the others opportunities. My concern would be, if he was doing all of that and the others weren't taking the chances and we were 0-0s and 1-0s or even losing, then it would be a concern. But at the moment, it's not a concern. Mm-hmm. If goals the goal tally dries up in other areas, yes, I agree with you. But no, other than that, no concern for me. And Jack, it will come. It will come.
I agree. He's a joint top goal scorer and he's our top assist maker. 5 goals, 6 assists. I think Saka's on 5 goals as well, 4 assists, something like that. Odegaard's got 4 goals. Martinelli's got 5 goals. So they're all contributing. Obviously, you want one to. We're going to need 2 or 3 to hit double figures if we're going to want to hit that 90 goal bracket that we know is required to be in the top 2 of the league from the last previous years. We know City are going to hit that, so we're going to have to be there or thereabouts. But we've got the second highest goal scorers in the league currently, and we're on track for it. So we can't argue, and he's a huge part of the reason of that. I mean, just those chances. I think he had one in the second half where it was laid off. I think it must have been Odegaard again, who probably can feel a little aggrieved that he doesn't have about 4 or 5 more assists this season. But and it was kind of like, just whipping it into the far corner. He just put it too close to Henderson. It was too close. Like, if you put it anywhere near the corner, it's a goal. But it is what it is. But fantastic overall performance, brilliant performance. Could pick a number of players to be your man of the match. Do we all want to rotate, even though we haven't won the group yet? I don't think he's going to, so I don't think it's really a point in talking about. I would like to rotate much more heavily in midweek anyway and take the chance on it. With it being a home game against the bottom of the group, Zurich still dangerous. They beat Bodo Glimt last time, but I would want to see a front three of Eddie, Nelson, Marquinhos or something like that. But I don't think he'll do that. I think we'll see the likes of Xhaka, Martinelli, Gabriel, something like that again. Maybe even Ramsdale if Turner's not fit. But that's the way he's been managing. But if you're going to have the Jesuses and parties and stuff like that, hopefully they're all Odegaard sitting on the bench, and they're not having to start the game. I would say at the very least, because Chelsea, I think they've basically won their group. So and obviously they play a day earlier or 2 days earlier, I'm not sure, but so they'll be fully rotating in midweek, won't they? So, I guess, we'll see how it goes with that. Should we get predictions for it? and feel free to touch on the lineup. But James, give me a prediction for Zurich at home and then Chelsea away. I want to say it's like a really early kickoff. Midday kickoff.
Unbelievable. How we played a Thursday night at 8, and then we got the midday game on the Sunday. Just absolutely insane, mate. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but there you go.
Travel too far for it, but
no, exactly. And you won't whinge and moan. This is what you got to do if you know, like I said, we're going to be champions. So this is what we've got to do, haven't we?
That's
all good.
That's it.
I'm not going to go absolutely insane, but I think Thursday's going to be 4-0, and I'm going to back Nelson to score again, and then Sunday, I don't know why, but I feel it. I feel it Sunday. I think we're going to win 2-1, and I'm going to go for. He's not scoring very much away, is he, Jesus? Maybe he's saving them for then. But no, I'm going to go for Granit Xhaka. I think, like Winterburn and Silvinho hit a thunderbolt all those years back.
Yeah, top corner.
I think Granit Xhaka's going to bang one with his left foot on Sunday.
Bosh. Ooh,
I fancy it. Maybe a free kick even. You know, he's done it before against Mendy, hasn't he?
Take a point of Sunday, would you?
I would. Considering, like you said, who Man City have, and just to keep, to not lose, yeah, of course. But I want to win. I want to win those. Like I said, I want to win those 2 games, Wolves as well, and I want to go in that World Cup break top of the league, mate. Because then all through the World Cup, everyone, we're still top. It's just it's bragging rights, isn't it? All through the World Cup. We're still top of the league, aren't we? So.
Yeah. I see it. I feel it. Yep. Neil, what about you?
Top at Christmas as well, because the games don't start again till Boxing Day, so it's lovely.
It's very true. Very true. Neil, what about you?
I think, I love James's prediction on Thursday. Brilliant. So I could be the sensible one for a change. So I'll go 2-0, and only simply because I think I think he's going to go strong. I don't want him to, but I think he will.
I think he will,
which is unfortunate. But I think it'll be 2-0. I think Zurich will come and try and do their best because now they want to get something. They want to just end up being.
I think they might still be able to get Conference League because they won.
Oh well,
so there's something on the line for them,
right? So then you can't write them off completely. So and you should never enter any game with complacency anyway. It doesn't matter. So I think that will be 2-0 for me. I don't know if you want to score with that one, but I'll say Nelson. Hopefully,
yeah.
I wish him well.
Wow,
I wish him well.
Okay.
And then on Sunday, I'm going to copy. I know normally we don't try and copy, but I think it'll be 2-1 as well. And I'd like to, and I love, and I hope it is Xhaka because I'm loving him at the moment. What he's doing, he's superb. He's superb. He's having the season of his life for me. But I'm going to say Jesus. So I want 2-1 on Sunday, Jesus. I'm like James. I just don't want to win the 2 games before the World Cup. I want to win all the games after the World Cup as well, James. So we will be champions. Don't worry about that. But yeah, 2-1. How about you, James?
Jesus, well done. I'll follow it up really. I'll go 2-1 in midweek. I think. I don't know. I'm hoping he rotates more than we think in a way. So I'm gonna back him. He won't rotate more than we think. He's going to play a stronger team. So he's been doing that for a while. He'll bank on playing a stronger team and then take them off. That's what he'll do. But hey, I'm not going to moan about him. He's doing a great job. So I'm not going to whatever he's doing. But it runs a risk, I think, especially with us playing a day later and those kind of things. So as long as we don't see Jesus or Saka out there, very good to see. By the way, in starts league with Jesus. There's some absolute nonsense about not starting them against Forest because they were on yellow cards and they might miss the Chelsea game. Can't enter games like that. This is not FIFA. You got to play games. You got to play players. They're always going to be on the edge with cards and suspensions. That is the way football is. You can't protect everything and not risk. There's always risk factors. Always, you can't do that. So 2-1. I'll go midweek, and then I'll say 3-1 Chelsea. I'll say we're going to win 3-1. So we're going to win 3-1 at Chelsea. Jesus. 3-1 at Chelsea. Jesus. Come on.
Wait.
Come on. Let's go.
You're.
Let's go. Let's go.
I've already had my words with you on the previous one about this. I'm stunned, shocked. I don't know what to say.
Listen, can't be positive now. When can I?
Mr. Positive.
Listen.
I think I can. I think I can play football. If Jack can be positive, I think I can start playing on the pitch again. No, you're right. I might get that far.
Neil, Jack's seen it, mate. He's seen that old El Nenny's back in train. He knows. He's brilliant against Chelsea.
Yeah.
When he plays Man United or Chelsea, when it's Man United or Chelsea, El Nenny turns into a completely different man.
Did you see Arteta after the game on Sunday? He went back out to watch him train. And he was just watching El Nenny. El Nenny. And I'm wondering if he's thinking maybe Thursday he'll start him, or, and maybe if he does start him Thursday, that gives Jack a license to have it off, because we can put Sambi Lokonga where he really wants to play and shut him up for 5 minutes. Because he's non-stop yapping, isn't he, Sambi?
You know what? When he played there in pre-season, though, Lokonga, he looked incredible. When he was actually in the 8, because he was scoring the goals, weren't he, in pre-season?
Yeah, the header against Chelsea, I remember.
Yeah, he looked a really good player in the 8. I do feel somewhat sorry for him, but at the same time, I'm like, when your mouth's running faster than your feet, lad, you've got to sort it out.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to take your chances where you can. Haven't you, really? I mean, he's not earned the right to be in position.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and you saw it a little bit in the Amazon documentary, when Eddie basically told him to shut up about not playing. Then he was like, look at me, mate. I've been sitting here for weeks and months. I've been here longer than you have, that kind of thing, which is fair from Eddie, I think. But let's see. This time he has a positive performance in midweek. That's what we're looking for. So we'll go for that. I think pick my goal scorer against Zurich. I'll go Fabio Vieira for that one. I don't know if I did. I don't know.
Yeah,
who did you say for Chelsea?
Jesus as well. Like, yeah. He's got to be saving it for something. So, boys, top the league. Let's hope 2 more wins, and we're sitting here talking next weekend or just after about still being there. So that's fingers crossed.
You'll have them gold badges on your sleeves next season, mate, when you do the show.
Yep, and stars the season.
The little champions, mate, on the side.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not getting out of ourselves here on the podcast, like keep things real. Find us at Purely Arsenal.
Just water.
Just water. Just green tea. Just green tea. Neil, don't want to know what you're drinking. Got at Purely Arsenal FP on Twitter, Purely Arsenal on YouTube. Follow us there. We just post that link now, but you know where we are on all the others. We've been going for a long time, all the other apps. Thank you for listening. Thank you for responding on the comments. We appreciate it. Up the Arsenal, boys. Keep the faith. Here we go. Top of the league.
Come on.